All right, this is Algebra 1, Chapter 4.3, the parallel lines. So let's get started. All right, so first of all, you just need to identify the slope of the first line. So whatever I've given you here, the first equation is going to be the first line, and you're going to identify the m1. So m1 here, you're just going to have to look for the coefficient of x. So m1 is going to be -7/4. Now I'm going to use a different color later for M2. So let's go ahead and do number 2. So M1 is going to be -6. Okay, so we know that if two lines are parallel, your M2 and M1 are equal to each other. Okay, so your M2 is going to be -7/4, and M2 here is going to be -6. Okay, let's look at the next one. So if this is the first line I'm giving you, and let's figure out the M1 first. So M1, you're going to start from here, a point from the left-hand side, and then we're going to end up with a point on the right-hand side. So in order to travel from starting point to the end point, you have to go up by 1. Okay, so which means that your M1 is going to be +1 on the numerator, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means the +4 in the denominator. Okay, so your M1 is going to be 1/4. So which means that your M2 is going to be same as M1, right? So it's going to be 1/4. All right, so let's look at number 11. So I am giving you guys this question as a curveball. Okay, so it's going to be a little weird, but let me explain to you. So this is the starting point, okay, and this is the end point. So if I call this the M1, what is the slope of M1? So when we write the m in fractions, we have the numerator in the travel vertically, right? But in this case, you don't have to travel vertically to get to from starting point to the end point, so you're going to put 0 here. Now you're going to have the starting point travel by 3 units to the right, so that's going to be +3. But 0 divided by any number other than 0 is going to become, well, it's going to equal to 0. Okay, so your M1 is going to equal to 0. So your M2 is also going to equal to 0. Okay, now things getting a little tricky here. So what is my M1 here? So if M1, let's just pick any point. Let's just pick a start point over here and an end point over here. And what is the distance to travel from starting point to the ending point? So we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be +7 on the numerator. But what about the horizontal traveling? It's going to be none, right? Because I already reached my starting point to end point by just going up 7. Okay, so there's not going to be anything travel horizontally. So you're going to put 0. But anything divided by 0 is going to be undefined. Okay, so which means that your M2 is also going to be undefined. All right, so let's look at number 18. So I'm giving you guys standard form. So what you got to do first is to rewrite this into slope-intercept form, which you guys have seen how to do it in chapter 4.1. So what we're going to do here is to isolate the -4y first. So let's subtract 5x on both sides. Okay, so I got -4y equals to -5x plus 16. Okay, next thing I want to do is go ahead and divide it by -4 on all 3 terms, because my goal is to isolate the y, right? So go ahead and let's isolate the y. So y is going to equal to negative makes them positive, so it's going to be 5/4. Up to this point, you know that what your M1 is, it's going to be 5/4. Okay, and your M2, it's going to be the same as M1, so it's going to be 5/4. okay? But we should finish it. So 5 fourths x minus 4. But most important thing is identify the coefficient of x. That's going to be your m1 and m2. 5 fourths. All right, so let's look at the next one. So in order to isolate the y, we needed to isolate the positive 2y. So let's subtract x on both sides. Okay, so that cancels out. So I have 2y equals to negative x minus 4. Now what we're going to do here is divide by 2 on all three terms. Okay, now my y is isolated. Think of it that as 1. So negative 1 over 2. That is my m1. Okay, so which means that your m2 is going to be negative 1 over 2 as well, because they're parallel. So let's finish up the rest. So that's just going to be negative 1/2 x minus 2. Okay, but this is all you guys need. Finding the m1 and m2. All right, so that's it for the worksheet. Take care, guys. Good luck.